Gentlemen, allow me to ask you a question that very few doctors dare to bring up openly, yet it lives in the quiet corners of many men's thoughts after they cross the age of 60. Could something as simple, as private, and as natural as masturbation still hold the power to protect your health, strengthen your body, and even extend your vitality in these later years of life? For decades, society has wrapped this subject in silence, embarrassment, or even shame, leaving countless men to wrestle with doubts alone. But as a urologist who has walked alongside thousands of men in the clinic, listening to their fears, answering their questions, and witnessing their struggles, I am here to tell you that what you may have considered a guilty habit could in fact be a secret ally for your longevity. Think about this. As the years advance, your body changes. Hormones decline, circulation slows, and even the confidence you once carried in your intimacy may begin to feel uncertain. It is in this moment, when you might feel your strength slipping away, that one of the most overlooked, natural, and safe practices a man can turn to is the one you already know so well. Yes, masturbation, not as a shameful act, but as a tool of health, of self-knowledge, and of freedom. The world rarely tells you this truth, and yet science, clinical experience, and the testimony of men who dared to embrace this practice with new eyes all point to the same reality. Masturbation after 60 can unlock surprising benefits that touch not only your body but also your mind and even your spirit. In the next few minutes, I want you to forget the old stigmas, to set aside the voice of taboo that perhaps you carried from your youth, and to allow me to guide you with compassion, authority, and medical clarity. I will show you why this intimate act, far from being a weakness, can in fact be one of the strongest, healthiest, and most practical habits you can cultivate in the privacy of your own home. If you are a man who still dreams of maintaining his virility, his vitality, and his zest for life beyond 60, then listen carefully. What I am about to reveal may change not only the way you see yourself, but also the way you experience these precious years that you still have ahead. So let me begin by opening this forbidden door and shining a light on what has always been hidden in the shadows. You may be surprised, you may even feel challenged, but one thing is certain: you will never look at this subject the same way again. Now that we have broken the silence and touched the surface of this subject, allow me to make a clear promise to you. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why masturbation after 60 is not a mere pastime, not a guilty pleasure, and certainly not something that steals from your masculinity. On the contrary, it can become a disciplined practice that enhances your health, sharpens your mind, and supports your intimacy in ways you may have never considered possible. I promise to reveal to you the 3 most important benefits that this natural act can bring to men in their 60s and beyond. These are not vague ideas or exaggerated claims. They are insights backed by science, reinforced by my years of clinical experience, and reflected in the lives of real men who have embraced this practice and discovered its power. And here is what makes this even more exciting. Each benefit is connected not only to your physical body, but also to your emotional well-being and your overall vitality. The first benefit, which I will reveal shortly, is something that directly affects your circulation, your heart, and even your ability to sustain intimate performance. The second goes deeper into your hormones and how your body fights against the natural decline that aging tries to impose. And the third is something few people ever speak about, yet it might be the most crucial of all. It touches your mind, your confidence, and your ability to feel alive, strong, and fully yourself as a man. But here is the twist. While I will guide you through each benefit with clarity, I will also keep one specific insight locked until the very end. It is a detail that often surprises even my fellow doctors when I share it, and it may well become the missing piece in your own journey toward health and fulfillment. So stay with me until the final words of this video, because that last revelation has the potential to shift your perspective completely. Many men who ignored this truth lived with unnecessary suffering, loss of confidence, weakened intimacy, and even health complications that could have been softened or delayed. You don't need to walk that same path. Instead, you can take control of this part of your life in a way that is private, safe, and surprisingly powerful. This is not just about sexuality. It is about longevity. It is about keeping the flame of masculinity alive in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. And if you are ready to claim these years with strength and clarity, then listen carefully, because what follows will open your eyes, strengthen your spirit, and perhaps even awaken a new joy you thought had been lost to time. My dear gentlemen, let me speak to you not only as a doctor but as someone who has walked beside men like you for decades. I have seen the concerns in their eyes. I have heard the hesitations in their voices. And I have felt the weight of the silence that so often surrounds topics of intimacy after 60. And I want you to know this. You are not alone. Every man, no matter how strong or confident he once felt, eventually faces the questions of aging, questions about his body, his vitality, his masculinity. And yes, even questions about whether his private habits are helping him or harming him. In my clinical practice, I have listened to countless men over 60 confess that they felt torn between shame and curiosity when it came to masturbation. Some believed it weakened them. Others thought it was dangerous for their prostate. Many wondered if it meant they had lost touch with real intimacy. But as a physician dedicated to men's health, I can assure you that these fears are born not from truth, but from myths and cultural silence that have clouded this subject for far too long. Let me share with you a story from one of my patients, whom I will call João. At 67, he came to my office convinced that his body was betraying him. He spoke of fatigue, of weaker erections, of a loss of confidence that made him withdraw not only from intimacy, but from life itself. When I asked him about his habits, he hesitated, then admitted he had avoided masturbation entirely for years, fearing it would only make things worse. Together, we began to explore the science, to look at his body not through the lens of shame, but through the lens of health. And what João discovered was liberating. By reintroducing this natural practice with a new mindset, he began to feel a return of confidence, better sleep, even an improvement in his mood. He realized that what he had once seen as weakness was, in fact, a hidden tool for strength. I share this story not as an isolated case, but as a reflection of what I have seen again and again. Men who embrace the truth about their bodies reclaim power. And this is why I speak to you today, with both compassion and authority, because I want you to step out of the shadows of doubt and into the clarity of understanding. As a urologist, I bring to you not only medical knowledge, but also the wisdom gathered from hundreds of lives, each one proving that age does not strip you of vitality. It simply calls you to care for it more intentionally. So when I tell you that masturbation after 60 carries real, tangible benefits, know that I do so not as theory, but as truth rooted in science and lived experience. And in the next part, we will dive deeper into the very problems men face at this stage of life, so you can see exactly why this practice can be more valuable now than it has ever been before. As men cross the milestone of 60, the body begins to write a new chapter, one that demands attention, patience, and understanding. Hormonal rhythms shift. Testosterone, the hormone that once fueled strength, virility, and confidence, gradually declines. Blood vessels lose some of their elasticity, slowing circulation not only to the heart and brain, but also to the organs of intimacy. Muscles weaken, energy wanes, and even the prostate, an organ often ignored until trouble arrives, starts to show signs of wear, sometimes swelling, sometimes creating discomfort, sometimes threatening with more serious complications. This is the reality many men face, though few ever speak about it. The mirror begins to reflect not only wrinkles but also the silent fears of fading masculinity. Nights may become restless, mornings arrive without the vitality that once came naturally, and intimacy, once a source of confidence, can transform into a source of worry. Some men avoid the subject altogether, hiding behind silence, while others turn to medications or quick fixes that rarely address the root of the problem. What troubles me most as a physician is not the aging itself, but the denial and neglect that often accompany it. Too many men believe that because they are over 60, they must simply accept decline as their fate. They stop questioning, they stop seeking solutions, and slowly they allow their health and spirit to deteriorate. But let me tell you something with all the clarity and conviction I have gathered through years of practice. Aging is not the enemy. Ignorance and inaction are. When a man neglects his circulation, his prostate, his hormonal health, and even his emotional balance, the risks become heavy. Erectile difficulties appear more often, not merely as inconveniences, but as warnings of deeper vascular issues. Prostate problems may progress silently until they erupt into pain or illness. Anxiety and depression creep in, fueled by the belief that this is just old age. And the tragedy is that much of this can be softened, slowed, or even reversed when a man learns how to care for his body with awareness. This is precisely where masturbation enters the conversation, not as a childish act or an indulgence, but as a form of therapy nature itself has placed within your reach. By stimulating blood flow, by releasing beneficial hormones, by giving the prostate an outlet, and by calming the mind through natural endorphins, masturbation becomes a practice with profound implications for men over 60. Yet, because of stigma and silence, many turn away from it, leaving untapped a simple, safe, and powerful way of supporting their health. So as we move forward, I want you to hold on to this truth. The changes that come after 60 are real, but they are not a sentence of decline. They are a call to action. And by understanding what happens inside your body, you will be better prepared to see how something as natural as masturbation can transform from secrecy into strategy, from shame into strength. Gentlemen, now that we have opened our eyes to the realities of aging, let us turn to the heart of this conversation, the true benefits of masturbation after 60. And remember, what I share with you is not guesswork. It is grounded in medical science and years of experience guiding men just like you. The first and perhaps most immediate benefit lies in your circulation. Every time a man stimulates himself, blood flow surges through his body, reaching areas that often suffer from stagnation with age. For men over 60, this is not merely about sexual performance. It is about vascular health. Erections themselves are nature's way of exercising the blood vessels, ensuring elasticity and strength remain alive. Without this exercise, the vessels weaken, circulation slows, and the risks for conditions like erectile dysfunction or even cardiovascular issues increase. I have seen men regain confidence simply because they allowed their bodies to remember what healthy blood flow feels like. It is not an exaggeration to say that regular self-stimulation acts as a natural workout for your intimate system, protecting both your heart and your masculinity. The second benefit touches something deeper, your hormones. With every climax, your body releases a cascade of beneficial chemicals. Endorphins lift your mood, dopamine fuels motivation, oxytocin brings calm and connection, and even small surges of testosterone can be measured. These subtle but powerful changes combat one of the greatest enemies men face after 60, hormonal decline. By maintaining this rhythm, you support balance in your endocrine system, fight stress, and even improve your sleep. I recall one patient, Robert, age 71, who told me that after years of restless nights, he finally began to sleep deeply again once he stopped fearing masturbation and began to accept it as a natural ally. What he once thought was weakness became one of the keys to restoring his energy. And then we arrive at the third benefit, which is perhaps the most overlooked yet the most transformative: mental health and confidence. Aging has a way of whispering lies to a man, convincing him that he is no longer strong, no longer desirable, no longer in control. But the act of masturbation challenges this voice. It reminds you that your body still responds, that pleasure is still yours to claim, that intimacy is not confined to youth. I have seen men rediscover joy, reduce anxiety, and even rekindle intimacy with their partners once they understood this. Because confidence in oneself spills into every area of life: your relationships, your work, your sense of purpose. So when we talk about masturbation after 60, we are not merely speaking of a private act. We are speaking of circulation, hormones, and confidence, 3 pillars of male vitality. And in the final part of our journey, I will reveal to you the hidden insight that ties these benefits together, a truth so often ignored yet capable of reshaping the way you live the years ahead. Gentlemen, we have walked together through the corridors of truth, leaving behind myths and embracing the reality that masturbation after 60 is not weakness, not shame, but a gift, a tool designed by nature itself to keep your body alive, your hormones balanced, and your spirit confident. But before I close this conversation, allow me to reveal the deeper secret I promised at the beginning, the insight that ties everything together. The greatest hidden benefit of masturbation at your age is its profound effect on the prostate. Many men fear the word prostate, associating it only with disease, enlargement, or even cancer. Yet very few realize that regular ejaculation, whether through intimacy with a partner or through masturbation, acts as a cleansing mechanism for this vital gland. It reduces stagnation of fluids, helps clear out toxins, and lowers the risk of uncomfortable or dangerous prostate conditions. I cannot tell you how many men I have seen ignore this truth, only to suffer later with complications that might have been eased or delayed by something as natural as releasing what their body was holding inside. This is the revelation that often makes even my colleagues pause, that what was once shrouded in silence can, in fact, be a preventive measure for one of the most common health challenges men face after 60. And it is within your reach, within your control, requiring no prescription, no expense, and no permission from anyone but yourself. So, as you carry these insights forward, I want you to see yourself differently. You are not a man sentenced to decline. You are a man standing at the doorway of choice. You can either let shame and myths keep you from embracing a practice that supports your longevity, or you can step boldly into the truth, using this natural gift as part of your health strategy. Circulation, hormones, confidence, and prostate health. Together, these benefits form a shield around your masculinity, protecting not only your body, but your identity as a man. I encourage you now, not just as your doctor in this moment, but as a companion in your journey. Take what you have learned and apply it. Let your body remind you of its power. Let your mind rest in the knowledge that you are caring for yourself, and let your heart feel the peace that comes with acceptance. And when you do, you may find that age no longer feels like a slow surrender, but like a new season filled with strength, clarity, and unexpected joy. If this message has touched you, I invite you to share your thoughts below. Tell me, what part of this truth surprised you the most? What did you feel as you listened? Your words will not only encourage other men walking this same path, but will also help keep this conversation alive, breaking the silence for good. And if you wish to continue discovering secrets that doctors rarely share but that every man deserves to know, join me in the next video. Together, we will keep building not only knowledge, but a legacy of health, courage, and lasting vitality.